This is about this video that Tyler Oliveira created.
How was the house coming along?
What house?
I
don't know what house. We had the mark about the house.
There are people on social media that create these like scandal stories.
Well, we ain't got no more money in there. I don't know.
They're not factual.
It's misinformation.
They're misinformation. They're making up facts to create a scandal. Like, wouldn't it be juicy if Soft White Underbelly was collecting GoFundMes and he was keeping the money? Ooh, that'd be a really juicy story. So that's what he designed.
From my understanding, there's like, I don't know, $50,000 or $60,000 in there.
He's basically ruining my reputation for some people.
I did not accuse him of doing anything. I did not call him names. I merely asked the question I myself was curious about, and thousands of other people.
I'm gonna discontinue my GoFundMes for the Whitakers.
People are saying I've basically ruined the relationship between them, when in reality, that's between them.
It's just a shame that I share a platform with people that do this kind of stuff. I think it's just the nature of our new world.
Two of my favorite YouTubers are currently at war over the Whitaker family. I mainly cover comedy drama, but seeing how these are two of my favorite YouTubers, and also because Mark is mentioned in my video about BAM, I wanted to make a video about this. Tyler Oliveira, in my opinion, is one of the platform's best investigative journalists. He's known for venturing into areas of America most make an effort to stay away from. He covers topics like the real-life city of zombies, drug-infested urban areas, and recently, one of America's most impoverished regions, where he interviewed the Whitaker family. Then, there's Mark Laita of Soft White Underbelly. The channel's name perfectly sums up its content, offering a platform for those who reside in society's dark corners to share their stories. Mark does interviews with a similar demographic to Tyler, ranging from gang members to addicts, and notably, the Whitaker family. Mark first introduced the Whitakers to the world 3 years ago in a video titled Inbred Family, The Whitakers. The initial 12-minute interview garnered over 41 million views, with subsequent follow-up videos accumulating nearly 90 million views. Mark even initiated GoFundMe campaigns to support the Whitakers, including one to help them purchase a new home. Despite Mark's efforts, the Whitakers remain without a new home. This prompted Tyler to investigate whether the family was truly benefiting from the funds raised by Mark's campaign.
What's coming along?
What house?
I
don't know what house. We had the mark about the house.
What did Mark say about the house? Paige wants to get an update.
I don't know.
Okay. Do you think he's...
Well, we ain't got no more money in there. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, no one killed us.
From my understanding, there's like, I don't know, $50,000 or $60,000 in there.
What adds intrigue to this feud is the striking resemblance between Tyler and Mark's channels. They have similar subscriber counts, both do research into similar subject matter, yet their approaches are different. Mark opts for the traditional sit-down interview style, typically engaging with one or two individuals at a time. Tyler takes to the streets, engaging with a diverse array of individuals, most of whom face some sort of struggle, whether it's with drugs, theft, or simply growing up in a certain geographical region. In Tyler's recent video shot in West Virginia, he spoke with locals about the region's pervasive poverty and the challenges posed by drug abuse.
All right, we made it to West Virginia. We're right in front of Sheets. What's the biggest thing to do for fun out here?
Just go to sleep and then go back to work.
I think we all are just really bored and really poor, so the only thing to do is work.
How do you like West Virginia?
I didn't like it in the beginning.
No?
It was boring, but then you find the beauty of it.
I've heard that meth is big out here. Is that real?
Yeah.
Venturing further, he explored a local casino, which is a whole other story on its own.
Might be wondering, with a town of almost 19,000 people and the streets completely empty on a Saturday, what do the people do for fun down here besides drugs? That's crazy. I was wondering why the city was so empty, and it turns out everyone and their mother is at the casino, and I can't blame them.
Before making his way to the town of Odd, where he arranged to meet with the Whitaker family with no help from Mark. Much like many of us, Tyler was introduced to the Whitaker family through the Soft White Underbelly channel.
You might be wondering why I've driven all across West Virginia to meet these people. A couple of years ago, I saw this video on YouTube titled Inbred Family, The Whitakers, where this guy, Mark Laita, records his interaction with a family suffering a long history of inbreeding.
Do you remember anything about your life?
Hey.
And you lost your other brother.
Before embarking on his journey to meet the Whitakers, Tyler took the initiative to reach out to Mark and the Soft White Underbelly channel via email. While not necessary, it appears that Tyler did so as a gesture of courtesy, perhaps to avoid inadvertently stepping on Mark's toes. The email to Mark read, "Hey Mark, I represent Tyler Oliveira on YouTube, a channel with 4 million plus subscribers. We saw all of your interviews on YouTube and really respect the style and uniqueness you bring to YouTube and how you portray all those you interview. We are currently interested in filming a video about the Whitaker family in West Virginia. I was wondering if you'd be able to help us get in touch since you've done so much with them. We would love to help show the world the compassion they have and support the GoFundMe to help them get a new home. Please let me know as soon as possible. Nice enough, right? When Tyler first showed this on his video, I thought Mark would be happy to set up an interview between Tyler and the Whitakers. You know, in hopes of getting them a house and raising even more funds. But Mark said, "Hi Tyler, Soft White Underbelly has an exclusive contract with the Whitaker family for all content creation. We are also currently in talks about a television series with the broadcast network. Thank you so much for thinking of us." To me, this sounds like lawyer talk.
I shan't mince words with you for long. I am challenging you, sir, to a duel.
It's vague and comes off as, "No, please don't contact the Whitakers, they are ours." If Mark genuinely aimed to aid the Whitakers, collaborating with Tyler on his video seems like a straightforward decision. A collab would undoubtedly bolster the Whitakers' chances of securing a home. From Tyler's perspective, it's understandable that seeing Mark's numerous videos featuring the Whitakers, totaling around 90 million views, might rub him the wrong way. Had Mark responded differently and extended his support to Tyler, it makes me wonder if Tyler would have felt compelled to scrutinize the GoFundMe accounts or the progress toward acquiring a new home for the Whitakers at all.
How is the house coming along?
What house?
The
I don't know what house. We had the Mark make a house.
What did Mark say about the house? Paige wants to get an update.
I don't know.
Okay. Do you think he's...
Mark told we ain't got no more money in there. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, no, he told us.
From my understanding, there's like, I don't know, $50,000 or $60,000 in there?
Instead of going through Mark, Tyler went through another acquaintance named Paige, and while he was there, he asked Betty about the house. It's hard to take what she says at face value. It's obvious she isn't given detailed records by Mark, and nor do I think he has to provide them with anything. Who knows? Maybe Betty thought she shouldn't talk about the money Mark was giving them. It is, after all, the first time she is meeting Tyler, and she's known Mark for years. Regardless, people shouldn't throw Mark under the bus solely on that one clip. So Tyler found another link to the Whitakers outside of Mark and scheduled a good time for him to take the Whitakers some groceries.
I reached out to the only other person I could find who had made contact with the Whitakers, Paige, a sweet special ed teacher from Alabama who checks up on Betty, the matriarch of the family, almost every day over the phone. And after talking to Paige, she was ecstatic to get me a grocery list of all the things the Whitakers needed and allowed me to drop them off on her behalf.
Tyler never calls out Mark for the misuse of funds or not giving the Whitakers any money, but he sure hints at it and even questions Mark's honor.
I started a GoFundMe linked in this video's description and donated $10,000 of my own money. If you feel moved by these innocent souls and want to help them live their elderly years in peace, feel free to donate below. And Mark, if you have any honor, let's combine whatever my viewers and I raise, your two GoFundMes, and let's get the Whitakers a new house for reals.
The first time I watched Tyler's video, I missed the part where he questioned Mark's honor. Without that jab, his offer to combine resources would seem like a friendly gesture rather than a slight against Mark's character. I doubt Mark provides them with receipts, nor do I believe he has the responsibility to do so. From an investigative journalist perspective, Tyler is simply asking a good question. Considering that one of the GoFundMe accounts Mark created is explicitly aimed at acquiring a new house for the Whitakers, it's a legitimate question, especially for the thousands of donors involved. But it doesn't seem like Tyler is just focused on the Whitakers. He turned his attention to the entire Soft White Underbelly channel.
Mark currently has a GoFundMe link with the mission to help the Whitaker family purchase a new home, with $55,692 raised thus far, in addition to a previous 2022 GoFundMe that generated $12,000 for a new house. And for those preferring other ways to donate, you can also PayPal or Cash App Mark Laita directly. With $77K and however much else was sent to Mark directly, there's another GoFundMe to help the over 7,000 people who have been interviewed for the Soft White Underbelly channel, with $48,000 total raised on it right now. Who gets any of this money and how is it divided, we'll never know.
Mark, of course, had a response to the video Tyler released, hoping to quell some of the concerns Tyler's meeting with the Whitakers may have conjured up among his audience. But the implied misappropriation of donated funds seems to have struck a chord with Mark. He obviously wasn't happy.
There's a young YouTuber named Tyler Oliveira, I believe his name is, but he posted a video about the poverty in West Virginia, but he spent some time with the Whitaker family and asked a lot of questions about the GoFundMe that my channel has that benefits the family. If you've watched that video, you've got a lot of questions about what's going on with the GoFundMe for the Whitakers. This GoFundMe that I've had for years, since I've been interviewing the family, has generated a lot of money for the family. It was always designed to help them with their living expenses.
So Mark says the GoFundMe accounts were initially established to address the immediate needs of the Whitakers, such as groceries, medical bills, and gas. However, a new GoFundMe was launched with the sole purpose of securing them a new home.
This GoFundMe that I've had for years, since I've been interviewing the family, has generated a lot of money for the family. It was always designed to help them with their living expenses, and then like end of last year we changed it to we started a new GoFundMe, and I tried to start a new one so it would look like this is how much money we're going to get for the house. And as we accumulated money for that, I was thinking, hey, we're getting closer to our goal. But the problem has been that Betty and Larry will call me every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, and say, hey, we need money.
So the initial GoFundMe was created to assist the Whitakers with both their everyday expenses and the goal of acquiring a new home. However, according to Mark, the funds never accumulated enough to purchase a house, primarily because he consistently gave money from the GoFundMe to cover the Whitakers' daily needs. This is where the second GoFundMe comes into play, the one with the goal of purchasing a new home for the Whitakers. According to Tyler's estimates, in total, the accounts plus the money made from the first video Mark ever made with the Whitakers has amassed well over $150,000. Tyler's line of questioning suggests to the audience that the Whitakers might not be receiving the entirety of those funds.
Mark currently has a GoFundMe link with the mission to help the Whitaker family purchase a new home, with $55,692 raised thus far, in addition to a previous 2022 GoFundMe that generated $12,000 for a new house. And for those preferring other ways to donate, you can also PayPal or Cash App Mark Laita directly, with a minimum of $77K raised directly for the house, in addition to however much was sent to Mark directly via Cash App and PayPal, and however much money generated from, let's say, just the first video he made with the Whitakers, an extremely conservative estimate of $82,000, assuming a $2 RPM. We have a minimum of $159,000 in the home fund.
Mark addressed that question in his response video, stating that he would send the Whitakers thousands of dollars at a time, multiple times a month. It comes off like it was a hassle to Mark, but nonetheless he was sending them the money.
Betty and Larry will call me every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, and say, hey, we need money for a car. Larry wrecked his car. We need a new car. We need food. We need this. We need that. It's always an emergency, and they need money. And it is their money, that this money is, all these donations are for the Whitakers. And when they tell me they need money, what am I going to say? No, you can't have it. We're saving it for a house. So I give them the money. Sometimes it's $5,000, sometimes it's $4,000, sometimes it's $6,000, or one time it was $14,000, sometimes it's $3,000 or $2,000.
Mark doesn't strike me as the type of person who would withhold money from the Whitakers, considering it rightfully belongs to them. That's who the donors anticipate receiving the funds when they give money. Mark even furnished receipts for transfers, showing that he was consistently sending them substantial amounts of money, sometimes as much as $13,000 in a single month.
These are all going from my account to Betty Whitaker's account at the, I think, Chase Bank, I think it is in Beckley, West Virginia. So even though we've generated, I think the earlier GoFundMe had about $77,000 before we ended it, and then this one currently now has $55,000. The one for the house has $55,000. That totals what, $120,000, $130,000 roughly.
Despite Mark providing evidence of sending them substantial amounts of money, their living situation hasn't shown improvement. It seems like more than anything, it has become a hassle for Mark. Not only were the Whitakers constantly asking for money, but he was also having to deal with the taxes, because if it was left up to them, they probably wouldn't pay it.
Keep in mind that money still, we still need to pay tax on that money. Somebody needs to pay the tax. If I left it up to the Whitakers to pay the taxes, I think we'd have a problem with the IRS. And I don't want to get the Whitakers involved in any kind of tax problem, so I chose to pay the tax on that money, and they get every cent that is left after the taxes are taken out.
Because the Whitakers have constantly requested money, the GoFundMes are all out, and Mark says he's even resorted to giving them money out of his own pocket.
The money that's in these accounts gets depleted. It's always happened with them, where it looks, you look at the GoFundMe, it's generating money. All of a sudden there's $55,000. Oh, we're getting closer. No, you're not, because they took out 5, and they took out 6, and they took out 8, and then they took out 14, then they took out 3, and it keeps it low. It's 0 right now. It's been 0 for a few months. Larry and Betty have called me and asked me for money. I've given it to them out of my own personal bank account, not out of their GoFundMe donations.
In Mark's mind, Tyler is just drumming up a story in order to create drama, because the drama is what gets clicks. Mark's absolutely correct. Drama sells, and especially on YouTube. But Tyler didn't need to do this to get his views. He regularly gets millions of views on his videos, and the topics he covers are drama enough. I think he was asking a genuinely good investigative question. I think where he went wrong was when he questioned Mark's honor.
I am challenging you, sir, to a duel.
I accept.
It's, you know, there are people on social media that create these like scandal stories. They're not factual.
It's misinformation.
They're misinformation. They're making up facts to create a scandal. Like, wouldn't it be juicy if Soft White Underbelly was collecting GoFundMe donations and not, he was keeping the money? Ooh, that'd be a really juicy story. So that's what he designed. He didn't ask me. He never called me. He did call me once to ask if I'd give them my contact info, but I don't want to give out the contact info of everybody I interviewed.
When I initially came across this, I was firmly on Tyler's side. I thought his questions were fair and it was important to the donors to have clarity. However, now I can see things a bit differently as Mark offered his perspective. I would be upset too if I were trying to manage a business and uphold my integrity, only to have a YouTuber ask leading questions and question my character, especially if Mark was truly giving all the money to the Whitakers as it seems he's been doing. Mark was frustrated that Tyler didn't approach him directly to ask these questions instead of airing them out in a YouTube video. His decision not to connect Tyler with the Whitakers wasn't to withhold them for himself, rather it was to safeguard their privacy.
How many requests for the Whitaker contact info did we get back then?
So many. It would have ruined their life if all the people got their address.
So we have to figure out a way to keep everybody from just going to the house and it becoming like a problem for them. Yeah. So I made up excuses why I'm not going to give out the contact information.
We've done that for a lot of guests, not just the Whitakers.
Anybody asking for a girl's phone number or a girl's email, I always say no.
So it turns out that the exclusive contract Mark claimed to have with the Whitakers isn't accurate. According to Mark, he applies this practice to all of his interviews. Initially, when I watched this, I could see where Tyler was coming from. It seemed like there was more to the story regarding where all the money went. Having an exclusive contract with them actually seems worse, so I don't know why he wouldn't just tell Tyler he didn't want to infringe on their privacy.
It's just a shame that I share a platform with people that do this kind of stuff. I think it's just the nature of our new world with, you know, the confluence of social media and
it's just a race to create content, it feels like. That's all.
Yeah, it's just freedom of speech and the internet to combined are dangerous. But that's the world we have now. So people are getting used to it and they know, oh, this is just a hater or it's BS. And I think a lot of people smell BS when they see this kind of stuff.
Mark is obviously frustrated and understandably so. He feels his reputation is being damaged, but I think if he were to watch Tyler's content, he wouldn't have said, quote unquote, it's a shame that he has to share a platform with him. Because they both focus on the same topics. It's just completely different styles of storytelling.
He's a scammer. He's a con artist. He's keeping the money for the GoFundMe. And I'm sure there's people that are going to believe it, even though I'm showing you the proof in this video. That's just the nature of human beings, I think. You know, it's disappointing that that's the way it goes, but that's what's going on in our world.
Someone in the comments thought Mark was actually going to step away from making videos because of how frustrated he seemed. Mark was so upset with Tyler's video that he actually got upset at the Whitakers for not speaking to Tyler about all the money he was sending them, claiming that he was not going to do a video with them ever again, and that he was just going to take down their GoFundMe accounts. But as we'll get to in just a moment, he already went back and made another video with them, literally days after swearing them off.
I haven't done this thing. Look at the Whitakers' lives. Their lives are so much better since I came into it. Their lives have improved greatly since I came into it. And the reason for that is because I'm kind and generous and I'm helpful. And when they needed help, I came through for them every single time. The fact that Betty comes on stood in front of him, his cameras, and said, when he asked what happened with the money, she goes, I don't know. Come on. Betty knows exactly where that money went. She calls me every 2-3 weeks to ask me for more. And I always ask her, like, what are you doing with all this money? I'm going to discontinue my GoFundMes for the Whitakers. I probably won't even do videos with them anymore. It's just it's left such a bad taste in my mouth after all this.
I think what bothers Mark the most out of all of this is he was doing nothing nefarious, like no good deed goes unpunished. He literally made the lives of these people significantly better. You can't blame the Whitakers though. They probably have no idea what's going on outside of odd West Virginia. And in my eyes, Betty not talking about money with Tyler, a stranger, probably felt like the right thing to do, like she was keeping it quiet out of respect for Mark. The whole thing was just a misunderstanding between everybody and sparked by Tyler questioning Mark's honor. That's the lesson in all of this. Never question a man's honor. They should just duel and get it over with.
I am challenging you, sir, to a duel.
I accept.
It leaves a really bad taste in my mouth after what just happened. Like, nobody came to my defense and said, hey, Mark gives us a lot of help, a lot of money. Nobody said that. I never once have ever gotten a thank you from anybody. But that's a whole nother conversation. A case where this young YouTuber who's doing some irresponsible journalism decided not to get any input from me and just decided to take a story and run with it because he knew it was going to get a lot of views, which it has. I take the hit on that. My reputation gets tarnished. He makes a lot of money. I mean, I guess it helps me because I make a lot of money too when people see these stories and they go to my channel to comment something terrible about how I'm evil and terrible.
I don't know how these big YouTubers let the comment section get the best of them, but you can tell they really got to Mark. In Tyler's defense, the Whitaker portion of the video was the last 7 minutes of a 27-minute video. The portion about Mark was not even the main point of the story. It was a sub-story of the poorest region of America. Tyler doesn't need the controversy to get views. He has good content. Mark actually called Betty during this video, and it went exactly as you would expect. It actually feels like he's getting onto a toddler and the toddler has no idea why you're upset with them.
Like, typically throughout the year, you're calling me many times to ask me for money.
I know that.
I'm sorry?
I know about that.
You don't know about that?
Yeah, I know I've been calling.
Yeah, I know. So I just want to make sure because like when Tyler interviewed you, he asked you like, what's going on with the money? And you said, I don't know. And he asked you about the house, and you said, what house? And it made it look like I'm not giving you guys money. Am I giving you guys money?
Yeah, you've been giving money, but I didn't know you've been giving money for the house down there now, Mark.
Well, I told you, and we talked about this, that we're going to try to generate money for a house.
I know.
Okay, but I've given you over $100,000. Like in the last year or so, a couple of months over a year, like the last 14 months, I've given you about $100,000. That adds up to a lot of money. You didn't mention that to Tyler.
Look at who?
Tyler is the young man that interviewed you a while back.
I saw Tyler.
You don't know him.
I thought there was no way Mark had actually given them over $100,000. Looking at their home, it seems like they are in the same state Mark found them in. Again, I don't think Betty is cognizant enough to understand that she did anything wrong. Also, if Mark has given them over $100,000, where did all of it go? In response to all of this, Tyler made another response.
Update on the Whitakers and Mark Laita. 1 day ago, I uploaded a video about West Virginia. In the last 7 minutes of the video, I go to the Whitakers' house, drop off some groceries, and I ask Betty Whitaker what's going on with the house and where is the money. I asked Betty what's going on with the money. She says, Mark says we've run out of money. What house? What do you mean, basically? So I uploaded this to my video and I open-endedly asked Mark, what's going on with the GoFundMe? Where's the money? I did not accuse him of doing anything. I did not call him names. I merely asked the question I myself was curious about, and thousands of other people in Mark's own channel had asked him.
So Tyler finally admits that he was going to the Whitakers to find out about the money in the house. While in his original email, he said nothing to Mark about this. Rather, he was just reaching out to Mark to connect with them. If he would have just asked Mark from the beginning, none of this would have ever happened. I see it from both sides. Mark wouldn't connect Tyler with them out of privacy, but then again, Tyler isn't a bum asking for girls' numbers. So that email makes Tyler change the focus of his story on the Whitakers because he got butthurt by Mark's response. All of this has led to Mark saying he's writing the Whitakers off.
People are saying, I've basically ruined the relationship between them, when in reality, that's between them. If Mark wants to cut them off for not maybe fully understanding the situation, and he is that frustrated that one person with a platform asked the question of what's going on with the public GoFundMe, with public funds donated to the GoFundMe by strangers who care about these people. If me asking that question has elicited a response in which he cancels GoFundMe's forever because it calls into question what? The timeline in which he intends on giving these people the money, his ethics, what's going on? Genuinely, I'm asking a very basic update question of, hey, there's a lot of people that have donated to this GoFundMe. What's going on with the money?
Later on in Tyler's video, he praises Mark for giving the Whitakers money, but then says if Mark would have just posted that update from the beginning, none of this would have ever happened. But how could Mark do that when Tyler never asked him? Again, he never should have questioned Mark's honor.
He is the the manager of the funds donated to the GoFundMe for them. If he just sent that update, me and so many other people would not have been so confused and asked the question. I just asked the question of what was going on. His response is obvious frustration and the receipts showing the transfers, which that's good. Thank God he's actually sent them the money. I think that's great. I never intended this to be a personal attack towards Mark. I think it was a very reasonable question that I and many other people had of what's going on with this money. What's the update? His response to all this is interesting. If one person with a voice elicited this reaction, I'm not sure what to make of that. But to Mark's credit, the money was sent. Whatever amount of money we raise by the end of this month will be sent to the Whitakers with receipts and videos. Thanks for watching.
I don't think he intended to upset Mark, but it still feels like he doesn't trust him. I feel like if he would just apologize to Mark about the honor comments, this would smooth things over. Tyler's GoFundMe with the Whitakers currently has nearly $18,000. I don't think it will ever reach the level Mark's got the Whitakers, but at least it's something. If I was Tyler, I would be leery of where the money is going though. I would want to make sure someone isn't siphoning the money away from the family. In regards to Tyler's response video, I think he should have commended Mark more and apologized for questioning the man's honor, especially since he's proven he's done nothing wrong. In fact, he's gone out of his way to help the Whitakers. The comment section for Tyler seems to be in support of him, and Mark's channel is in support of him. And even though Mark seemed like he was done with the Whitakers, 5 days after his call to Betty, he posted a video of him with the Whitakers. And to make some more money, he is going to sell 24 copies of his book signed by them.
On eBay, one at a time, 1 week at a time. So each one will have a week's worth of time on eBay, and the highest bidder will get each book as we sell one after the other for 23 weeks. The 24th of those 23 books is being given away on the subscription channel. So the bidding starts at $150. We'll see where it goes. The proceeds from all of these 24 books will be given to the Whitaker family when we're done. It's going to sit in a fund. They're not going to get a piece of it until it's all done.
So that pretty much brings us up to date. Let me know what you think.